All right, you feather merchants. This story is about when I was in the Marine Corps on Okinawa, stationed at Camp Hansen in Kin Village. And this would have taken place in 1964. I was on my second tour on Okinawa, so I would have already been there for about a little over 2 years when this happened. Anyway, I don't remember why, but my unit was tasked with guarding the gates, all the gates, and like I said, I don't remember why. I thought it was the MPs that did that, but I wasn't an MP. But anyway, we had that assignment, and I think we had that assignment for about a month. And since I was a corporal, E4, I was acting sergeant. And it was, I stayed in the gatehouse and, or office, and it was at night. I was working at night, and we got a call from the front gate, and there was a Marine that had come back off liberty, and he was really, really drunk, and he wouldn't show his ID. And when the gate guards pressed him on showing the ID, he attacked him. So anyway, they had him held there under gunpoint, and so they called me, since I was a sergeant of the guard, and they want to know what to do, you know. And so I said, well, we'll come down there and get him, because you can't let him return to his unit. You know, he's already assaulted a couple of Marines. So I get in a Jeep with a couple of the officers, a couple of the guys that was with me, and we go to the see who this guy is, and sure enough, he's at the front gate, and ooh, this guy is big. And he is not friendly. He's drunk and real belligerent. Anyway, I introduced myself to him, and told him that what we had to do is we had to take him to our office. And he said he wanted to see a sergeant. I told him, I said, well, I am the sergeant. He says, no, you're not. He says, you're a corporal. He says, I want to see the sergeant. So I said, okay, but you got to go to our office, and we'll get the sergeant. So he said, okay. So we get him in the Jeep with no problem. He's acting okay. He's not assaultive in the Jeep. So we get him all the way down to our office. And what we already know what we have to do. We're not going to call it the sergeant and or a lieutenant or anybody. We're going to get him in our holding cell. But getting him into the holding cell is not going to be easy. So we devised a plan to trick him. So we get him down there, and I told the guy, I said, we already called the sergeant. He's on his way. And the sergeant said he wanted you to wait in the waiting room. He says, oh, okay. So we opened this door. It was a real thick, it wasn't a cell door. It was a real thick, wooden, heavy door. And when you opened it, I mean, it's obvious to anyone that it's a holding cell. And it was obvious to him, even though we told him it was the waiting room. And right away, he said he's not going in it. Well, we didn't let him get that out of his mouth. And we pushed him in there as hard as we could, lost his balance. He fell on the floor, and we slammed the door as fast as we could, because we didn't want to fight this guy. I mean, this guy was, he was something else. Anyway, we slammed the door and locked it. And it was so funny because we were laughing out. They could hear us laughing, that we got him in the holding cell, and on the door it was a sliding small door on the door where you could open it up and you could look and talk to the guy that's in the holding cell. Well, anyway, that little door was closed, and like I said, it was a big wooden door, heavy duty wooden door, and we're standing right in front of the door, and I'm talking to this Lance Corporal. His head is about that far away from this sliding door, and we're laughing about getting this guy in the holding cell, when all of a sudden this fist came through that little door and hit that Lance Corporal upside the head and dropped him. I mean, it dropped him, and all I could hear was this guy kicking that door, trying to get out. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I hope he doesn't. He's not able to get out of there. But he didn't. He finally got tired of kicking on the door and beating on it, and it wouldn't. He couldn't break it down. And the next morning, of course, we opened the door, and it's funny. He was real friendly then. He apologized to us, but you can't beat people up. Gate guards, you beat them up, he's going to go in front of the captain, and I don't know what they did to him. With his prior record, he probably did a little brig time behind that. And back then we had what they called red line brigs, and they had red lines on the floor, and the prisoners, they couldn't go across them without asking permission. And if they were to step across one of those red lines, they'd regret it. It's like Marine Corps was real heavy-handed back then. They didn't put up with any nonsense, and the last thing you wanted to do is go to the brig. And they still even used these metal boxes back then, where they would get someone that was being real troublesome. They'd stick him in this perforated metal box where you could only squat down or be on your hands and knees, and they'd put you out on the blacktop pavement and in the sun, and spend a day doing that on bread and water. And they had a couple of cases where Marines had died being in those things, and I don't think they got rid of them until it was well after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I got out in '64. So anyway, it's just a short story I wanted to share with you guys. And it's funny. I said I was a corporal E4. I made the corporal. I had a little less than 2 years when I made E4, and that was kind of a big thing. It was hard. It was hard to make rank back then, and I don't know who said this, but someone said, being a corporal in the Marine Corps is equivalent to being an Army general. And something, of course that's not true, but if you were someone like me that had spent a lot of time drinking alcoholic beverages like Okinawa sake, Stan McGill beer in the Philippines, and Japanese beer, it kind of made sense. And you believe that stuff, Fortunately, I never ran into any Army generals because that wouldn't have went well. And Anyway, oh, and Okinawa was, what an incredible duty station that was. You guys cannot believe what it was like back then. It was, anyway, this isn't about that. It was about that guy that was unruly at the gate. And, okay, you feather merchants, I'll think of some other story to come up with. Okay, you guys have a good day. All right, bye.